My ex-girlfriend wants to get back together after losing her virginity to someone else. I, 23M, broke up with my girlfriend, 21F, of 3 years because she wanted to remain a virgin. Now, she wants to get back together but told me she had relationship with someone else while we were broken up. How should I proceed? I met my ex 3 years ago when we lived on campus at university in different halls of residence. After a few months, we got together, and for the most part, we had a very happy relationship. However, there was always one issue. My ex grew up in a very religious home. Her father is a pastor, and although she was open with her family about not sharing their faith, I believe some of that religious upbringing was still in her mind. Our relationship was pretty normal except for one thing. She told me very early on that she was a virgin and wanted to stay that way until she was married. This wasn't for religious reasons but because she didn't want to disappoint her dad. We did other sexual things but not intercourse. Going into the relationship, I was also a virgin, and I still am if you classify it as never having had intercourse. As time went on, I became more resentful of the fact that everyone I knew was having normal sexual relationships while we weren't. I couldn't understand why she didn't want to have a full sexual relationship, though I never pressured her about it. While I was at university and pretty broke, getting married seemed like something for the future. Last year, in my final year of university, she was working in her first professional job. She started talking a lot about the successful guys she met at work, which made me feel lesser as I was still a broke student. Coupled with her still not wanting a full sexual relationship, it made me feel more resentful. We had some arguments, and after a while, I felt that I should end the relationship as we wanted different things and our lives were on different paths. The breakup was awful. She cried a lot, and I felt terrible afterward. It's been nearly 6 months since we broke up, and we haven't been in touch at all during that time. I haven't been involved with anyone else, focusing 100% on finishing my degree. Now that I've finished university and am about to start my first professional job, she recently got in touch again and asked to meet up. I was hesitant but decided to hear her out since we had so much good history. She told me she's been missing me terribly these past 6 months and wants to get back together, now open to having a sexual relationship. I asked her why now and what had changed. After some prying, she admitted she had a short-term fling with one of the older guys at work while we were broken up. She said he was persistent until she started having sex with him, but she ended it recently. She was clear that it was consensual but that the guy was very persistent. I was gutted. I couldn't understand why she made me wait all those years but was fine with having sex with someone she'd only been seeing for a short time. I asked if the reason she was now open to a sexual relationship with me was because she wasn't a virgin anymore, and she said yes. I asked her to give me some space to process all this. I'm conflicted. I have missed her a lot and still have strong feelings for her, but it feels like I was strung along for years. Everything logically makes sense for us to get back together, and I'd finally get to have a sexual relationship with her, but I feel awful about the whole thing and don't want to ignore those feelings. Update: most comments recommended a clean break. Some said to give her a chance, while others called for ending it because I wanted sex in our relationship or for being obsessed with her virginity. Some suggested my breakup drove her to feel like sex is necessary to keep a guy, pushing her into another man's bed. A few comments even speculated she might be pregnant. Some people advised using her for sex and then leaving her, which I would never do. Ellie and I were a loving couple for years, and that counts for something. My issue was that we weren't having sex in our relationship, not her being a virgin. If she hadn't been a virgin but still wanted to be abstinent, it would have been the same situation for me. I strung myself along, hoping she'd change her mind. A few things happened recently. Over the Australia day-long weekend, I went camping in the Grampians with friends, which helped me decompress and process everything. Talking with friends who knew Ellie well gave me clarity. When asked if I would have ever reached out to take Ellie back if she hadn't contacted me first, the answer was no. That realization cut through a lot of the confusion. By the time I was heading home, I had decided not to get back together with her. However, when I regained mobile signal, I received a bunch of messages from Ellie. She said she was wrong to ask me to get back together and that she's back with Tim. She apologized for misleading me about her and Tim's relationship, initially calling it a fling. I wasn't happy to hear she lied to me and didn't want to talk to her, so I texted back, "No." She sent another text apologizing, saying she shouldn't have come to me. Out of curiosity, I looked up Tim online and found him on LinkedIn and Instagram, confirming their serious relationship with photos of them together. On Tuesday evening, Ellie came to my door, wanting to explain herself. Our conversation lasted over 4 hours, during which she admitted she was devastated after our breakup and eventually developed feelings for Tim at work. She initially lied to spare my feelings, but clarified she had initiated their sexual relationship. She changed her mind about abstinence after we broke up, realizing it was a commitment she made to her dad, not what she wanted. She wanted to rekindle things with me after her breakup with Tim, but my hesitation made her realize it was a mistake. Over the weekend, Tim asked her to work things out, and she decided to give it a chance. She apologized for misleading me, and we talked about our families and future plans. She wants to keep out of contact out of respect for her relationship with Tim. In the end, I'm glad I trusted my gut and took time to consider things. I still care for Ellie and wish her well, but I'm clear now that I don't want her back. She's my past, and I want to look forward. I'm excited to start my new job and focus on my career, open to finding someone new but not actively pursuing it. My best friend gave her boyfriend permission to sleep with me behind my back, and I'm having trouble explaining why I'm so upset by this. Cindy and I have known each other for roughly 15 years and have been roommates for about 5. Cindy is polyamorous and has 2 partners, one local and one named Mark, who lives in Oregon. Mark and I slept together a couple of times back in 2016, but we decided it wouldn't work due to our differing relationship preferences. In 2020, I went through a tough period, broke up with a boyfriend, and decided to start living for myself. I quit my job, found a new one that made me happy, and started doing solo hiking adventures. I mentioned wanting to camp at Crater Lake National Park, and Mark offered his place for me to stay and to be my hiking buddy. 2 weeks ago, Cindy became cold towards me, and I couldn't figure out why. Then yesterday, Cindy and Mark invited me to a video chat and told me they had discussed it and gave me permission to sleep with Mark on this trip. Apparently, one of their boundaries is not doing anything with each other's friends without permission. Mark had mentioned to Cindy that he would be down to sleep with me if I was interested, which led to a fight between them. I blew up at them, feeling like they viewed me as a sex object. Cindy's treatment of me over the past 2 weeks made me feel like a pariah in my own home. After discussing it with a friend, I realized I was more upset with Cindy's behavior than the actual proposal. I felt Cindy should have approached me individually rather than in a weird video call. After a few days, Cindy reached out to apologize. She admitted she felt like she was falling apart while I was doing better than ever, and she was afraid of losing Mark to me. Cindy and I talked, and she admitted she was deeply depressed. While her feelings are valid, I stood my ground that her treatment of me was unacceptable. We agreed to work on our friendship, and she invited me to join a session with her therapist. I went on the trip, and Mark apologized for causing drama. We agreed to stay good friends without any romantic involvement. I had a great time hiking and shared photos with Cindy, who was concerned for my safety. Thank you very much for watching to the story so far. I suggest you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss tomorrow's stories.